What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Last Bachelor podcast. I am your host, Elvin Matos, and this is episode 43. Today, we're tackling a topic that doesn't get enough attention: loneliness. Yes, loneliness. It's something we all experience at some point, but for men, it often hides behind a wall of silence. It's time we break that silence because the consequences of unchecked loneliness are real. Now, I'm not just talking about the occasional feeling of being alone. I'm talking about chronic loneliness, the kind that lingers, making you feel isolated even when you're surrounded by people. It can creep into every part of your life, affecting your mental health, physical health, and relationships. Let's explore why this happens, why it's so hard for men to talk about it, and most importantly, what we can do about it. So why is loneliness such a hidden issue for men? A lot of it has to do with how we're conditioned. Society often tells men that being strong means being self-reliant, that asking for help or admitting you're lonely is a weakness. But let me tell you, there is nothing weak about being human. And being human means we all need connection. Studies show that loneliness has the same impact on mortality as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that for a second. It's not just a feeling, it's a health crisis. And yet, many men don't recognize it in themselves or feel too ashamed to address it. Dr. Vivek Murthy, the U.S. Surgeon General, calls loneliness an epidemic. He emphasizes that meaningful connections are as crucial to our health as proper diet and exercise. So how do we break out of the loneliness trap? Here are a few steps to consider. 1. Recognize and acknowledge it. The first step is realizing that feeling lonely doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Reflect on when and why you feel isolated. 2. Start small but consistent connections. Reach out to a friend, a family member. It doesn't have to be a deep conversation right away. A simple check-in can be a gateway. 3. Seek out new communities, whether it's a sports league, a local club, or shared interest groups. Putting yourself in spaces where you can meet like-minded people can open doors. 4. Invest in existing relationships. Sometimes we wait for others to make the first move, but what if you took the initiative? A simple text like, "Hey, I was thinking about you. How have you been?" can go a long way. 5. Therapy or support groups. If loneliness feels overwhelming, a professional or support group can provide tools to manage it. It's not a last resort. It's a powerful tool. I've been there. I've been there myself. Life gets busy, and sometimes we focus so much on work, family, or just surviving that we forget to nurture our own connections. I realized I wasn't connected as I thought, and it hit me hard. But taking small steps, reaching out to people I care about, and even starting this podcast have helped me build those connections again. Let's normalize talking about this, especially among men. If you're feeling lonely, you're not alone. And if you see someone who might be struggling, be the person who reaches out. Small actions have a big impact. All right, that's all for today's episode. If you found this valuable, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you want to share your thoughts on this topic, leave a comment on Spotify. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, connections start with a single step. You've been listening to The Last Bachelor. Take care until the next episode.